What's going on, YouTube? Jam here. Today we're going to be learning how to play John Mayer's No Such Thing from Room for Squares, his first album, 2001 or 2000. I think it's 2001. But it's got some really, really cool chords in it. It's got some really cool open sounding shimmy chords. Some cool stuff in general that you wouldn't normally see from acoustic guitar playing. Especially pretty much anything off of that first CD is just off the charts, just so cool. So we're gonna go through that. I'll show you some of the techniques that he uses. It's the best that I could do as far as tab goes, as far as how he plays it, if it's played right. I've studied John Mayer quite a bit. I've watched all his videos. I got his tab books. I got the Room for Squares tab book right up there. I've studied that as much as possible. So this is kind of a little bit of a hybrid, but mostly it's almost 100% how he plays everything. So all the information I've seen, that's how I play it. So without further ado, let's get started with the intro. Alright, so we have the first open E chord. This is the palm muting intro. Sounds like this. Okay, so it's not too hard. Basically, it starts with an open E. And I'm sorry that I don't have fret markers here. I know it's kind of hard to see, but open E. First finger on the 11th fret. So this is the 12th fret here. First finger on the 11th fret. And what I do is I put my pinky finger on the 13th fret of the 4th string. And it kind of gives me this power chord here. And this is what the intro is based off of. It's a bigger chord than just this. But this intro is basically just based off of playing the first 3 strings, palm muting them. Again, it's basically a power chord on the 5th string. Basically a power chord on the 5th string, and it starts on the 11th fret here. So bam, 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 bam. So basically just play the chord, and he kind of bounces off this E, kind of hits it twice, and it kind of gives you this kind of, double rhythmic, just kind of chugs it, really bounces off the E and kind of uses flavor. I can't really explain how to necessarily palm mute it exactly, but this is like, you kind of just got to use your own judgment and your own discernment as far as how that should go. As far as the next part, the slide up part, basically it's pretty simple. He just takes his pinky and he moves it up a half step right there. So he goes from the 4th string on the 13th fret to the 4th string on the 14th fret. It's a tongue twister. So that's it. So and then he just kind of goes through it once, right back down, right back up, right back down. It's really not that difficult. Not too bad of a chord. And the second chord is, well, actually, let me show you the first full version of the first chord. The first full version is, basically it utilizes your middle finger as well. So you have this first chord, and you have these right there. The only difference is between the full chord is you actually put your second finger, your middle finger, you're going to put it on the 3rd string on the 11th fret. So it kind of splits between your first and your second finger, kind of splits that string in the middle there, splits that 4th string, and then you're going to put that one back on top. So you have basically what it looks like this. Okay, so not too hard. Again, this is on the 11th fret. This is all on the 11th fret here. And you have these 3 right here. Try to keep this one out of the way as much as possible. And you can play this chord open. This is actually how this chord is played. This is an absolutely beautiful chord. Love it. Love it, I love it, love it. And when I usually play this intro, I usually kind of have them resting here anyway. So kind of get a little flavoring of this one here when you play the full chord on this intro. Now, honestly, on the record, it sounds like he's just playing the, you know, and then in some of the tab books it says to play pretty much these three while you're doing this. So it's kind of just up to you what you want to do. Sometimes if I just wanted to make it sound just like the record, I'll just play the top two. You know, most of the time I do that. And sometimes I feel like opening up. You know, whatever you want to do there. So you go through that once, and then basically and then it goes into it. Welcome to the real world. And that brings you to the second chord, which is pretty easy. Just take this chord you had and move it down one string. One string. So from there to there. This is an awesome chord. I love this chord so much. It starts on, basically you're going to be playing the 5th string down. So the A string down. This is the A. And it's going to be the 4th string on the 11th fret and the 3rd string on the 13th fret. Again, the 12 is in the middle. So it's like a power chord. You know, just imagine your 2 dots right here. Kind of like a power chord, and you play all the strings open except for the low E. Back to this E chord. It's beautiful. Back and forth. Welcome to the real world, she said to me, condescendingly. Okay, not too hard. And then after condescendingly, that takes you to the 3rd chord, which is the source of a lot of controversy. How you play it, what it is. It's really a bass off of this chord here, which is like a C sharp minor. But this is how John plays it, and I'm going to show you how John plays it, and then I'll show you kind of an alternative way to play the same chord that might be a little easier. I still, however, recommend playing it this way because it's going to give you the dexterity and going to give you the movement of the thumb, which you need to have. So basically it looks like this. It's really not too bad. You got the, I'll tell you the chords, I'll tell you the tab here. It's going to be 4th string, 9th fret. 4th string, 9th fret. You're going to play with your 2nd finger. 3rd string, 9th fret. You're going to play with your 3rd finger. Okay, so it's kind of like this little, that's on the 9th fret. And then you're going to take your 1st finger, because it's kind of hanging there, and you're going to put it on the B string, on the 7th fret. Just like that. So you get this kind of strange shape. Okay. And then what you're going to do to complete the chord, this is the hard part. If you never played with your thumb, it's very difficult. But honestly, after playing this the first time around for me, it kind of seemed natural because I realized that this is actually kind of easy to do. It's this part that kind of makes this thumb issue harder than it is. But it's not too bad. So you have your 2 fingers there, 2 middle strings on the 9th fret. You throw your pinky finger, or sorry, how do you say that? You throw your 1st finger down on the B string on the 7th fret, and then you scoop the thumb right over here to the 9th fret, and basically play that bass note there on the 6th string, right there. 5th string, leave it alone. We're going to mute it, and you can either mute it with your thumb, or you can mute it with your middle finger. I tend to mute it with my middle finger when I can. So it's kind of this. It's kind of this almost stale sounding jazzy chord, but that's what gives it so much flavor when you come back to the other chords in the song. So that's the 3rd chord. So welcome to the real world, she said to me. You really got to grip that 3rd one. Take your slide. So you really got to grip that 3rd one, kind of just grip it hard and just really hit it good. So that's the third chord. And next we will do the turnaround, which is a little bit difficult, but not too bad. Alright, so we got the turnaround here. And this chord, it's not too bad. It's kind of the same power chord type way of doing it. Just think of what we did up here with this first E chord. Basically, you slide that down one and play it with your third finger instead of your pinky. Play with your third finger because you're going to use your pinky. And it's basically A string on the 10th fret of the A, 12th fret of the D, and 14th fret of the G. And you're gonna keep the E hanging over top of this chord. And it's just these three, just like this. Kind of a walk down. And what John basically does is he goes just like this. Plot it out. And you take your pinky, you move it from the 14th, you move it on the G string, you move it from the 14th down to the 12th, and kind of complete this power chord. You kind of make the power chord. Again, keeping that E on the top the whole time. This is the turnaround. When he says plot it out in black and white. So right here we go. Plot it out in black and white. And the cool thing about this is absolutely astonishing is how this walks down, how he walks it down with the lyrics. I mean, it's absolutely brilliant. So he goes, put it out, and then we're always moving this G on this G string. We're always moving this note every time. So it goes from the 14th down to the 12th, and then he moves it. Again, he takes his finger off completely, and he uses his middle finger to fret the 11th fret on the G. So now you do kind of have this D shape. So we went from here, here, to here, to here, and then I don't think he does this, but I have seen him do it once, I take it off as the fourth movement. So I go, out in, and then black and white. And what I do is I usually just play the first four strings when I'm doing the first two movements. So out it out, and when I get to this one, I play it open. So out it out in black and white, and I take that finger off, and that's when I say white. And usually he just plays like this. So, and he keeps like that, which is a beautiful chord. I just kind of like to take it off. It feels like the symmetry, the lyrics go better rhythmically when you play it. And right back into the E chord. It's not too bad. So, welcome to the real world, she said to me, condescendingly. Take a seat, take your life, and I never live the dream of the pumpkins and the drama queens. I like to think the best of me is still hiding. Okay, so this is I guess this would really be like the turnaround, or the bridge, or the pre-bridge. I don't even know what you call this. I don't know. So you have that. You got this fast. Up my sleeve. Right before up my sleeve, you have this chord, your third chord for the second time around, and then I go into this chord here. This is what I do. This is kind of what makes me the hybrid on it when I do it, because I feel like it just sounds better this way when you're playing it as kind of just a loud, shiny type, cover of it. I like how this sounds. It's kind of a poppy way of doing it, but it's basically just taking an F chord. Kind of like a bar chord, like if you would a bar, and you basically just lift your hand up a little bit while you're still fretted, and you play the strings open. So the strings that are being open are just the last two here, just the E and the B, they're open, but it's basically just an F sharp chord with those open. So If we were to do it, I'll never live the dream of the prom kings and the drama queens. I'd like to think the best of me is still hiding up my sleeve. Okay, so I use that as still hiding up my sleeve, and I kind of play that chord, and then the second part to that. So we got the basically we got the E, we have the A, we have this chord here, we have this turnaround, or this fourth chord where it kind of slides down every time as he's speaking. You go through it again, back to this chord, and then you're gonna go right into this chord here, and then after that, this they love to tell you. Alright guys, so go ahead and check out part 2. That was part 1 of the video. Part 2 will have the sliding part, the beautiful sliding part. It will also have the chorus. That's my dog back there. We'll have the chorus, and then it will also have the bridge or pre-chorus, whatever you want to call it, the invincible part. Alright guys, thanks for watching.